Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our E3 kickoff stream. This is Ash for the Triple S League. I'm here with Curie Mask. How you doing this morning?
Still half asleep, but I'm good.
She's been complaining that I killed her and taken 5 years off her life by making her get up this early.
Yep.
Yeah, welcome to adulting. It's a lot of fun. We also have Cybsidian. He is somewhere. I think he went to get a drink or something.
He's in the galaxy.
Right as the stream needs to start. Anyway, that's okay. Sorry about the technical glitches and hiccups we've had this morning. There was a static stream that we accidentally put live about 15-20 minutes ago. Sorry about that. We were doing a bandwidth test. I don't know why I told it to be private, but it went live anyway. It went public. So that's just one of about a dozen things that have been stressing me out this morning. But that's okay. Everything's good now. We're live. It's going to be a good time. Good morning, TC Braga. Welcome to the live chat. And the stream, of course, is live now. And so that moment when you wake up and you turn on your computer, like well over an hour in advance, to get ready for the stream. And then it tells you, hey, I'm going to be updating for the next, like, I can't tell you how long. It's just going to take a while. And I'm like, I got to stream in like an hour and a half. You've got to be kidding me. And so I'm watching it creep up from 1% to 2%. And like 10 minutes later, it's at 3%. I'm like, okay, this is clearly going to take a long time. So, yeah. So then you go and get your wife's laptop and set up all of your software on it so that you can do the live stream. So, good morning, Riku. Good morning, Worm Queen. And Captain Dammit, welcome. Our lovely sponsor, Captain Dammit, with that triple S icon beside his name. Welcome to the stream this morning. We are still awaiting the Cybsidian. I'm not sure where he went, to be perfectly honest.
I heard him a second ago, off in the distance of the galaxy.
So hope nothing's everything's all right on his end. But yes, so we're coming up to, of course. Well, I mean, E3 is kicking off completely 100%. Let us know in the chat which press conference you are most looking forward to. Of course, this morning or afternoon, depending where you are, we have EA's starting in just under an hour. Now, EA, of course, has been the subject of a lot of controversy this year with all of the loot box stuff that's been happening. So their loot boxes, and then they're doubling down on their attitude toward loot boxes with saying, oh, we wanted to give gamers a sense of pride and accomplishment by taking 50,000 hours to unlock Darth Vader, which really pissed a lot of people off. And so I want to know what you think. What kind of attitude are you going into this EA press conference with? Are you going in hopeful, hoping that they are going to be turning things around, or are you kind of coming here to watch it like it's a train wreck? I'm very curious. I want to know, because obviously it's an interesting situation for the most controversial of I'm sure game companies of the year to be starting things off this year, kicking it off. It's the only major press conference today. It is, and it is, of course, the one that's starting everything off. And wow, and chat is springing to life now. Howdy, David Velasquez, welcome. You're looking forward to Cyberpunk? Well, of course. Now, CD Projekt Red doesn't have their own press conference this year. Maybe someday. We'll see. It's Bad Wolf looking forward to Bethesda and Microsoft. Absolutely. Microsoft only because of Cyberpunk. I'm with you there. I mean, I'm curious to see what else they'll be bringing, what else they'll be offering. Captain Dammit, Bethesda 100%. Absolutely. I'm with you. Looking forward to what Bethesda's bringing. I think we're going to see some surprises. I don't think that... I mean, we know Fallout 76, of course, is coming. But I don't think Bethesda showed their hand completely. I believe they put that one out to get us excited, but there's going to be more. There's going to be more than just that. David Velasquez saying, and I hope they talk more about Beyond Good and Evil too. Yes, I'm actually looking forward to learning more about that one as well. Riku Light looking forward to learning more about Ghost of Tsushima, and I don't know where we'll see that one, but yes, that one is that's one I'm very curious to see more about as well. Whoever CDPR is with says Worm Queen, so Microsoft, and yeah, absolutely. So, oh, excuse me. Yeah. So, what do you guys think about? Oh, there's a response about EA. Bad Wolf says, hopeful from EA. LOL. I'm interested to see more Anthem, and it'd be nice if they actually show the RPG parts of Anthem instead of just some action. You know, yeah, I'm with you there. You know, I had almost kind of forgotten that that Anthem was coming from EA, just because EA is. I haven't been paying much attention to EA, but you're right. I mean, BioWare, of course, being an EA property now, they've got to bring. They'd better bring a good show. Let's put it that way. As we've said many times on our podcasts, previously talking about Anthem, Anthem has got to knock it out of the park, or BioWare is in big trouble. I mean, we've seen what EA does to other studios, so has done to many of the studios that they've purchased. So it kind of feels like BioWare is on the chopping block if they don't deliver. So
hopefully they do deliver.
Absolutely, I agree with you there, Kiri. And we have this Obsidian.
I'm back. Yeah, sorry.
You're back with us.
The galaxy.
Dogs were wanting to go out here, so.
Well.
And then they did not want to come inside. They were like, "Hey, I'm gonna stay here."
I'm gonna stay outside and ruin your career. One of these, one of the many things that I sort of explained to everybody, all the things that have been going wrong this morning. But here we are, getting ready to kick off E3. So I've been yammering my mouth off for the last 7 minutes straight here. So Obsidian, why don't you take it from here for a couple minutes? We've got a lot of activity going on in the chat here.
Well, this is going to be EA. EA last year had a dismal showing. They only showed off a very small number of things, and out of that number of things, to which took up half of their entire time, was a complete and total flop, to which they have now been it's now been quite rumored through many very reliable sources that we are not going to even see them continue to push that game, that being Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2. It looks as if they have just decided now that for the most part they're going to be just dropping that as a thing, because they can't make money off of it, because the audience revolted against their ridiculously outrageous and completely unacceptable monetization or practices. And so it was it was really disappointing. So
yeah, I agree. So I asked the audience just a few minutes ago what kind of attitude they're going into this EA press conference with. Are they going in with a hopeful attitude that things are going to turn around, or is it like watching a train wreck in slow motion at this point? And the general consensus seems to be people are looking for info on Anthem, and hopeful that Anthem's going to be a good title. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to be. Yeah, that's right, Worm Queen. It's for the fans. It's all for the fans. They know what's best for us, right? So, Saib, what do you think? What do you think we're going to be seeing as far as Anthem here at the AAI press conference? Is that going to dominate the time, do you think?
Well, I doubt it. I think because well, I mean, it's going to get a sizable showing for sure, but I I still think it's almost like I think it's almost a year away yet. So they're going to show us a new trailer. We're going to get that. We're going to get them talking about it. But I don't think we're going to get anything substantial. I think we're going to get a trailer that's more or less scripted. Like you watched the trailer last year of the quote unquote gameplay, and it's extremely script. Like it's the combat is almost scripted. Some of the way that the NPCs die is like they get hit by the abilities, and then there's like a micro 2 to 3 microsecond pause, and then they all just fall over. And I would hope that you don't have a team of your team of players, and every encounter you run into, it's just one ability and they're all dead. It's like, and that's what happened in that trailer. It's like they ran into a group of stuff, and they basically like showed some shotgun, and then the guy jumped down and they all died. And then they showed another thing where she lit up everybody on the map with the missiles, and they just all instantly died. And then there was the big guy that show up, and then one ability, and he's instantly brought down just by. So it was to showcase kind of like what's going on without the without the mess of going over the combat. So yeah, that's more or less how it was built and designed. So we didn't actually see the real nuts and bolts of it. Whether we see that this time, I kind of doubt it. I kind of doubt we will see that. I think we're going to see this very scripted again trailer, maybe showing off some of the storyline, because that's what people have been criticizing them for and have been demanding. So yeah, that's more or less where they're trying to go.
Right.
It's like,
and there's been a lot of comments in the chat this morning that people want to see more of the RPG elements, and like you said, I think the story elements as well. Yes, there's going to be good graphics, good action, etc., etc. What else? Like, what's the meat of this game? Like, show us what's going to keep us playing. Like
Death.
That's what keeps Kiri playing, when she can kill us. Any game where Kiri can kill Saib and myself is a game that she's a fan of.
What? No. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hashtag Kiri Vampire.
What?
I was going to say Kiri Serial Killer, but that might come off the wrong way.
I kill cereal too. No, kidding.
Actually, that might make a fun video. Kiri murdering cereal. But yeah. Anyway, wouldn't that be fun? We'll talk about that after.
Maybe.
We'll talk about that after.
You weren't kidding about this day being just annoying as everything when it came to technical glitches. I can't log into my Google account for some reason. And not that it's not letting me log in, like I can access my email and stuff, but I can't log in to YouTube as my account. So I'm going to pop on with a secondary account, and you can go ahead and give that some permissions so that I can interact and do some stuff in the chat here. So,
okay, sure thing.
Just getting it set up, but it's like, wow. Yeah, technical glitches everywhere today. Oh my goodness gracious me.
It's been it's been crazy. So if Saib and Ash want to beat Kiri, says Riku, then they can be a no skin in Fortnite. That seems to work well.
A no skin killed me today as well when I was playing. It was really quite depressing. He was the biggest noob. He happened to get a lucky headshot on me.
Are you sure it wasn't a fake no skin?
No, because he walked up to my loot, stood there for like a good minute, and then picked up a gun and then left.
Maybe he's just really getting into character. Really putting on the noob front.
I don't like no skins. They're gonna end my existence.
Well, maybe it's a psychological thing. Maybe it's because you're like, hey, that's probably a fake no skin, so you get all tripped up.
Oh yeah.
Because you never know.
It's
If anyone's not familiar, so I mean, in Fortnite you have, of course, you can upgrade your skins and get all these cool costumes and things, and then but your typical noob is just sort of your basic vanilla skin because they haven't gotten all the extra stuff yet, and so they look a certain way. But some of the really good players will take on that vanilla skin, excuse me, to try and fool you into thinking they're a noob. And
Therefore, they are fake no-skins.
Therefore, they are fake no-skins. And they kill you, and then they do a dance on top of your body that an actual no-skin would not have. To just rub your nose in it. It's a lot of fun. Well, it's a lot of fun watching. I'm sure it's not as fun in the moment.
Makes me
Anyway,
salty.
what are we... Do we know what else we're looking for from EA this year, Saib? Or what else?
we are looking for. They're gonna have their sports lineup again, and for normal reasons and whatnot.
Right. Which
On top of that, we're gonna have, and I really hope this doesn't start auto playing. Goodness, I hate that. On top of that, we're expecting them to try and bring out some bigger guns this year, and trying to say, oh, guys, we're no longer the most hated company in the world. We're gonna help you guys. We love you guys. We're just, it's gonna be awesome. And of course, we're gonna be sitting there judging them harshly because that's what they do. I mean, haven't been able to trust them ever at all, not once.
Well, this is as I said earlier, it is an interesting situation to have them be kicking off the entire thing. I don't know if that was by design or what, but not only does it set the bar really low for whatever comes after, it's interesting that this is where the first spotlight is going to be shined, and they are going to have some harsh critics. They are going to have some harsh judgment happening, so they really had better bring it this year. Or, I mean, if they pull off a solid press conference that has me looking forward to something that they're announcing this year, I'm going to consider that a massive success. Like that, any other year that would be like a very meh kind of oh whatever kind of a deal. But if they get me excited about anything this year, that's going to be quite an accomplishment. So, yes, as Worm Queen points out, multiplayer is the future, single player is dead. Yes, that whole, in addition to the loot box controversy, then they also made a rather asinine statement this year about multiplayer being the way of the future, and single player gaming is not popular anymore. Yeah.
But there can only be one killer.
It flies in the face of absolutely everything. It all the evidence out there. You look at the games. You just look at how well God of War did this year, and a ton of the games that we are looking forward to that, yes, incorporate a multiplayer element, like Fallout 76 is going to be multiplayer in some way, but we're expecting it had better have a solid single player component, or Bethesda's going to have a lot of disappointed fans.
Mm-hmm.
XTC always with the always with the witty one-liners there, XTC. But yes, as Bad Wolf points out, multiplayer is the way to the most money for these companies. So that sounds more like their motivation for that. Yeah, I doubt God of War made anywhere near as much as loot boxes in a successful multiplayer game. Well, that could be true. I don't know the numbers on that. Do you have any ideas on that side?
On which? Sorry.
Well,
I'm still trying to get my account up and running.
Okay. For a very successful single player title, like say God of War, versus the money that is brought in by loot boxes. Do you know how that compares? Like,
It depends the type of game. It depends the amount of whales. It depends on what you have in it. It depends on a lot of things. So, yeah, it's going to be out there because we're going to be like we have no idea, where or what we're going to be seeing in what time in time. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling with that. Basically, we've got, what they're going for now is they're always going to try and wedge in that kind of loot box, or that like some kind of way to get you to continue to pay money afterwards. Very either kind of play to win, or pay to win, or this kind of concept where it's like, hey, there's something coming out all the time. Because you look at GTA is one of the richest franchises in the entire world, and it's because they just keep on pumping out content for the multiplayer, the online game, and they just keep on throwing stuff into it. I've heard people, they spend like $4,000 or $5,000 on that game. It's like, whoa, why? And they're not even the whales. They're not even the whales. The whales are like, it's like Star Citizen. $27,000 is what some of the packs go for. $27,000.
Hold on.
That's
27,000.
That's not.
We're still talking about GTA 5.
No, we're talking about Star Citizen.
Oh, Star
But
Citizen.
these are the types of games that every other developer, well, not every other developers, there's a lot of developers and the big companies, such as, for example, EA, they're looking at, and they're just salivating, and they're just rubbing their hands together going, how do we get their hands on this? We got to get our hands on this. We got to get our hands on this, because they don't, it's not about like, their goal is not, hey, let's find, and create one of the best gaming genres there is, most memorable. They've already had those, and they said, can we monetize this and make, just bring in the money? And they've gone, well, no, we kind of have to redesign it from the ground up. Okay, let's do that then. It's like they have no desire to save the Star Wars games that they make. They have no desire to save Mass Effect, which is one of the biggest gaming titles in history as far as like fandom goes. And why? Because there's no easy way to heavily monetize it. So what we will see is that we will continue to see them push for easy grabs, and then they'll try and introduce some new stuff, like with what we're going to see with Anthem, as a way to get people to hook in, and then to get into a game where they pay $100 for the game, and then they continue to pay like $50, $60, $80, $100, $300, $2,000, $27,000, just continually over the next several years. That's what these live services are the absolute pinnacle of. And it's always so funny to look at it, because what I have to constantly say, and what I constantly am trying to remind some of these devs of, is that, look, you're never going to be able to just artificially create that. It's not going to be a structure where that happens. Look at Fortnite. Look at Destiny 1 versus Destiny 2. In Fortnite, you had this thing, they said, hey, let's try this new mode, and, let's have fun with it. And then the community reacted in this really positive way. And then you have, Destiny 1, where, again, it's like, well, we don't even know if this is going to work. Like, MMOs are dead. Why would we want an MMO shooter? That's going to be even worse. But its wild success led them to say, okay, well, let's make Destiny 2, and we'll make it in this structure, and we're gonna just push a little bit harder on this, on the microtransactions and the money, and then the thing that happened immediately following that is they just kind of failed again, and it's like,
right,
it's just insane. It's just insane.
But let's talk a minute about the difference between the multiplayer model of, say, Fortnite and Star Wars Battlefront. Like, both cases you have microtransactions going on, but what's the key difference there?
Just the way you treat your customer, basically. That and the types of microtransactions. Those things are going to affect the the overall acceptance and continuing acceptance of the title of whatever they bring in. So it's not necessarily like, you know, how is this going to succeed? You look at the mobile market, where the vast majority of the games on the mobile market are microtransaction, like, as a foundation. Like, some of the games are literally, I swear, just, you know, spend $5 to open this pack of 10 things. Spend $5 again to open this pack of 10 things. Spend $5, and that's the core of the game. The core of the game is, give us money, and we will let you see this, like, bright, shiny explosion thingy, where you don't actually get anything. There are mobile games where you can spend like $5-10 opening these packs, opening, like, you know, 40-50 of these packs, and you don't get anything that actually helps you do the current game content past a certain point.
Right.
It's like, but is there a cap on it? It's like, hey, you know, you spent, you know, $40 on this. There's actually nothing left for you to get. No, they don't let you know that. What they continue to do, though, is they continue to say, hey, click this, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, buy. It literally is the epitome of the devil. Like, I know that South Park made you know, kind of a joke of that, but it is literally the epitome of, like, hey, I'm going to abuse your desire to get stuff, and I'm going to just continue to feed you this idea or this concept that is incorrect, that you need to continue to get stuff in order to get stuff.
Yes. Actually, a couple good points here in the chat. Bad Wolf points out, Fortnite's PvP is free. That's absolutely true. You're not buying a full AAA priced game like Battlefront and then being expected to buy stuff in order to get better at the game. Fortnite's PvP is free, but it's also, and Curie, I'm sure you'll have something to say here. It's all cosmetic, isn't it? Like, you can't buy anything that actually gives you an advantage over other players, can you?
No. Even I think Fortnite even says that, like, this won't give you a perk to beating other players. It's just skill versus skill. And
yeah.
You just buy what you want, so it doesn't
absolutely
mean anything. It's just customization.
And I think the only the only thing that comes close is the no skins, the fake no skins that we mentioned earlier.
Fake no skins.
But even that is just they're by not indulging in the, you know, the better skin, they're trying to pretend that they're a noob to gain a strategic advantage, but that's not even, you know, that's not buying something to get an advantage. It's just kind of a weird quirk that they're taking advantage of. So
most people just see a no skin and are like, oh, it's a no skin, this will just be really easy, and then nope.
Yeah. But XTC, our friend, makes a good point here. If we all stop buying, they will stop making. It's the consumer's fault that EA blows. And I think that there is some truth to that, because I mean, I don't think it's entirely the consumer's fault that EA blows, but are we enabling? Yes. We, speaking globally, like, not we personally or necessarily anybody in the chat here, but obviously somebody is spending the money on this stuff that allows it to keep going, right? So, Saib, you mentioned their sports titles earlier, and that seems to be where a ton of the money is spent, right? Are they trying to take a model that works well in sports?
Oh yeah, because FIFA. So, in the sports world, this is entirely like it's a perfect world for it, and there's a reason why trading cards for sports teams and sports players have been around since basically like the 40s or the 50s. It's been a really long time, and the basic run of it is here is a constantly rotating door of players, aka content, that we can sell directly to the people who consume our content.
Right.
And this constant consumption of this content is what is turned around to be this constant gulping down and eating of the consumer's cash, because it's like, hey, look at this, hey, you got to collect it all, like, hey, you got to get this, hey, you got to get that, and in the sense of that, I mean, that kind of stuff has been around for a really long time. Like, I mean, that's not necessarily something that's new, and these big companies, they want in on it. So when EA is doing this with the sports, I mean, it just works wonders, because again, there's a bunch of people out there who they only play basically sports games. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of people who play basically just FIFA, and that's about it.
Right.
Because that's but they're also the type of player who's going to go out and watch every major game of their team for the entire season, and probably go to see their team, perform live at the stadium at least 4 or 5, half a dozen times at the very least, right? And these are the types of players that pick up, an Xbox or a PlayStation, and they get themselves this game, and that's about all they get. And I meet them every once in a while, doing work or just walking around talking to people. It's like they talk about soccer or football or hockey, and when they're not talking about one of them, they're talking about the other one. And when they're not talking about the other one, they're talking about some other thing. And that's all they ever talk about. And they have a pretty decent, disposable income. And right. So, but that's their life. That's their entire life, their entire entertainment life, not their whole life, but their entertainment life is completely absorbed by sports, and more sports, and sports and sports, and sports and sports and sports. That's their entertainment life. There's a reason why in even small cities that happen to have a major, pro team, why there is there's pro teams that they commit themselves. These radio channels, they can thrive, and in fact, live entirely off of just reporting the sports.
Right.
There's nothing else to their content. They don't cover news. They don't cover weather. They might cover weather very sparingly, and then maybe a little bit of traffic. But that's it. The rest of the day, it's 24 hours, one sports team, and they talk about the sports team constantly. And people wait for hours and hours on the phone to get online to talk about how they think somebody messed up a play, 5 or 6, months ago, and how that's going to affect the rest of the team. And people just sit there. It's kind of like, it's kind of like what nerds do with video games, except it's worse, because it's all encompassing to them. And so that's the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, that's going to be, that's a thing that happens and that drives it. So EA takes that, captures that in a video game, puts it out there, but they don't capture, they're not capturing the bulk of the mainstream gamers. And so that's what they want to do with some other title. That's what they want to do with Anthem. That's what they want to do with Star Wars. That's what they wanted to do with that kind of stuff. And they want you to, as somebody said in the stream just a few minutes ago, it's like, Bungie makes you spend $180 just to play through the main, all of the content, to get access to all of the content for a few months. It's like, why bother? Why bother? But there's some people who they just eat that stuff up, and they have the disposable income. David said that. And that's that's all they live off of. That's all they thrive off of.
Right. Yeah. So are they trying to bring? By the way, some of these titles actually sound kind of interesting. A Star Wars, Battle Royale actually sounds kind of fun. But yeah, are they trying to bring this kind of a sports model down to other kinds of games? And it's just
the monetization for sure.
Yeah, the monetization
for sure. Because again, it's like, for the vast majority of the core gaming community, games are supposed to be about skill. I shouldn't be able to walk into a game and beat you in in a high end PvP tournament because I have a bigger wallet than you do. Like, that's what most people, most core gamers feel strongly about. Very strongly about.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't think.
But you can't get that kind of a thing because if you look over at the sports game, a lot of that stuff is pay to win. If you buy the top ranked player for every spot on your team, period, you will have a greater chance of winning over somebody who hasn't. And that's just the way it works. That's just it's always been the way it works. So that pay to win mentality, that unfettered access to power-ups or to better characters or to just anything that helps you in the long term get and be better and get more access to trouncing your competition, especially in the world of PvP. I mean, you look at some of the stuff that they tried to copyright, or they did copyright this year. It's like, we've developed a system in which we track your wins and your losses and your purchases. And when you make a big purchase, we reward you by putting you into situations that you have a greater chance of winning. And if you haven't bought anything recently, we put you in scenarios that you're less likely to win, you're less likely to be able to carry, and we put you into this constantly, but not to the point that it drives you away from the game, but just enough that you really start thinking, well, maybe if I just bought this one thing, then it would help me. And then you buy that one thing, and then suddenly, hey, you're in a group with, everybody who's either, constantly disconnecting, or they're just the worst. It would be like in Fortnite, which I don't think Fortnite does this. But it happens to be a really good example. They're trying to find ways to, say you go out, you've been playing Fortnite for a really long time, you've been playing it for a year. It hasn't been Battle Royale, hasn't been out for a year, but we're just using this as an example. Or insert any other Battle Royale type game. And there's millions of people playing it, and out of those millions of people, there's a lot of really terrible players. And there's also a really bunch of really, really good players. And you've been playing, and you're constantly in these matches where there's 10, 12 really good players, and you can't progress past the top 10, basically, because they just keep dominating you. But you're getting tempted constantly with this, hey, buy this super pack for $40. This super pack is for $40. It's going to give you this awesome skin, and hey, it's not pay to win, but this is going to give you this awesome awesome thing, right? Same thing with PUBG. Some like I said, this is just an example. And then you go ahead and you buy that, and then the computer goes, oh, they've made that purchase. They spent the $40. So your next 50 games, they're going to put you up against maybe one, maybe two other really good players. But mostly they're just going to fill the entire match with just the bottom 10% of the entire player base. And of course you're going to dominate in those games. You're going to quickly, prove, and then to your subconscious is going to be saying, hey, this worked. I did this thing, and I'm just playing better now. And then you're gonna lax for a couple of weeks or a couple months, and you're not gonna buy their new thing, and it's gonna keep on putting you, progressively more and more against these harder and harder and harder to compete people. And then suddenly you're thinking to yourself, well, maybe if I just bought another thing. And so that's what big companies like EA, Activision, and a handful of the other ones have been actively looking at doing to encourage people to spend more money in the games. So in that regard, even just purely 100% cosmetics could, and again, this has entirely been just an example of what they've been experimenting with, but so far we have not seen this implemented. But this is the type of things that they're trying to go for. So it's this, yes, Spaceman 3, you're 100% correct. This is manipulation at its best. This is manipulating the players to constantly feel like they have to put in more and more financial things. Now, I know people who have hobbies, right? I know a couple people who have hobbies, and their hobbies are drinking scotch. And they go out of their way to find 400-year-old scotch to drink, which, by the way, is incredibly expensive. But why do they do it? Because they love it, because they enjoy it, because it's the thing that they do, and they spend a ton of money on that. So I'm not getting down on anybody who wants to spend money on video games, and I don't think that overall, I think there will always be a place for some games to have certain whale positions, and if that's what people want to do, then that's fine. That's on them. Do that. If let the free market decide what people want to do, what to and want to play. But as a general rule, if we want to see esports actually move in a better direction, if we want to see it become more mainstream, then we have to stop manipulating. The developers have to stop manipulating their player base, period. Because getting them to, manipulating the matches that you have, manipulating the games that you have in hopes of you spending more money is not going to result in a community that excels at honest and clear lines of pure competition between people. So that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm trying to say is, like, game studios, they want to do this for the bottom line. Gamers understand, and a lot of gamers understand, that you cannot do this if you want to foster a world of actual credible esports. You can't do this. You can't just decide, hey, we're gonna...
absolutely has to be about player skill, or esports is just dead. There's no oh, this team spent more money, and
imagine that if leading up to, I imagine that this was a thing. I can't remember if I told you, but I had this dream once where I was in a world entirely where all professional sports basically ran down to who had more money to spend on what. But the thing is that you couldn't necessarily easily see what the other players, community, and fans were spending on what teams. And you could only place, essentially you were placing bids right before the next game. So you could place bids on, say the game takes place on Friday, you place bids on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but not Thursday. Thursday it's locked out, and then there's this like brief 1 hour period right before the game starts in which you can bid. But again, you can't see what the other fans, player, team, whatever has spent. And it doesn't give you an automatic win, but it's like it basically goes from, like, you can have like a 100% advantage over the other players. So if you can throw the ball, or if you can do whatever the sports was requiring, if you can throw that 10 meters, you can now throw it 20 meters, right? And so this is the setup. And so these people, same thing, like, the guys on the radio, the players, the team leaders saying, okay guys, we feel that we could confidently win this. I don't think that Boston's going to put more than $2 million into this next game. I think we should definitely aim for the $2 to $3 million mark, and I think we're almost there. So just keep pushing a little bit more, and then the game comes out. Oh, Boston actually spent $4 million, and we only spent $3.5 million. Oh no! And now it's an upset win. Oh no! And that was this kind of world that I was stuck in for a little while in this dream, and that was, I can see exactly how. Again, EA, Activision, they're drooling at the thought of that. They're just salivating, like, oh my goodness, you mean we could run a game where we get millions of people to just throw us money to offset the game, and it's acceptable? Like, they're salivating at the thought of that. That's a perfect world for them. That is the most perfect world. If they can create that system and then encourage people to play with that and stick with that, that's what they want to do. And they'll do it at any cost, because, oh my God, that's just the best, and they'll defend it. They'll come out with PR, and everybody's claiming how brilliant this idea is, and how like they'll sell it to you. They'll sell it to you hard, but you just sit back and you're just like, why?
You know what? In a way, I mean, yeah, they'll tell you it's good for you, the player.
Yeah,
it's we want to give you a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Pride and accomplishment.
All right, we are 14 minutes away from the EA press conference starting. So let's move away from talking about microtransactions for a bit. Let's talk about something else. In fact, let's stop talking about. Excuse me. Yes. Saib was venting really hard.
Yeah,
he tends to go on
venting, but also showing you guys that this is where some people in the industry, some, not all, definitely not all, definitely not even half, I would say, but there's a substantial population of developers, gamers, and creators who strongly desire the ability to do something like that and to go after it hard. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we are 13 minutes away from the beginning of the EA stream. I am going to take a quick bathroom break here before we move into that and grab a drink. You folks talk amongst yourselves. I'll be BRB.
Okay.
Yeah, get your questions lined up. We do have a lot of inside information into Anthem, so get those queued up, and we're gonna dive into them. So, and again, I'm really trying to get I really want to get my account up and running so I can get into this. This is literally driving me mental. We want to get into chat here, so just give me a minute.
He's gonna go insane.
Yeah, just about. Oh my goodness. It was supposed to be quite cool today. It is not cool today. It is a hot one. It's a very hot one. Like,
It's
oh my goodness.
death. We're all gonna die.
It's absolutely mental. Okay, there we go. All right. This is looking good now. Just refresh the stream. Yes, Curia is still here. Sorry, I kind of took over that. Oh, no, it hasn't updated yet. I guess it... Create a channel to join the chat. What? Wait, what? I swear that this is like literally driving me mental. Okay, chat. I just no.
The computer's just like, this? No. No. What about this? No, that's not what I want. Oh, do you want that? No.
Okay, there we go.
Yay, it works.
All right. Now we refresh the page again. Is it? Yes, I can say stuff. I'm here.
Yay.
Now it's giving me the updates. This is an old storage email that I have. So yeah. But we'll work with this because for some reason YouTube is just not recognizing my other account on YouTube. It's fine in the emails and all that stuff, and I can access like channel control and all that kind of stuff from my normal chatting account, but just for some reason can't do it here.
Rude.
I think that is going to be a 1.5. The question from Spaceman is, how will EA be received when their show starts? 1 equals food thrown, 10 equals cash thrown at them. I'm going to go 1.5. So, yeah, put your votes in for that. Spaceman is that's a good question. Everybody put in your votes. Right now it's averaging at between 2 and 3. Negative 6.2. Okay, I'm gonna do something here. I'll be right back. Throwing your so the question is, how will EA be received? 1 is them getting food thrown at them, and 10 is people throwing money at them and giving them a standing ovation at the end. Let us know what your thoughts are on that.
Huh. Always comforting to come back to dead air.
It's not quite dead air.
Oh, there you
There's
are.
no way you can get rid of me.
Sorry, everybody. I have I'm not sure what's going on, but I have lost my YouTube window
question.
here.
The question in the chat right now is, what kind of response will EA get? 1 equaling people throwing food and booing, and 10 being people throwing money and giving a standing ovation at the end of the presentation for EA.
Well,
and we're just
so it's a choice between giving them money and giving them food. Well, they're probably going to need the food because I don't know how many of them will have jobs
them
after
food,
today.
Throwing food. Are you not familiar?
Yes, I'm familiar. I was making a joke. Jeez.
I like food.
Yes, we know you like. You are a big fan of the food, the FUD.
The FUD.
You're a big fan of the FUD. We know. By the way, Carrie, I guess I didn't give you the link for where to watch the thing. So I'll do that right now.
Is this a code? The thing is a code? Is that the thing?
Code? The EA press conference.
Oh, okay. People keep being rude and trying to speed past my house. I do not appreciate it. I was totally doing important things while I was waiting for you guys to get back. I wasn't playing Candy Crush or anything.
And what are people doing that is rude?
Oh, they speed by my house. It's rude.
Yes.
And they make racket. It's rude.
Let's see here. We've got a bunch of votes here. Negative 6.2, 0.5, 3.5, 4. Yeah. They might get booed, yeah. I mean, on the one hand, I'll feel really bad for them if that happens, but on the other hand, well, here's the thing. The people that are up on the stage are not the people who are making the decisions behind the scenes, presumably, unless, like, the CEO gets up there or something. And if he got booed, I would not feel bad at all. But
no, they're gonna get. There's a lot of people there, and there's a good chance they're gonna get booed.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to.
Yeah, I don't. I think honestly, I think it's what they need. Like, I honestly think it's what they need. I think they need a strong negative force to basically shame them for doing, like, if the crowd started chanting shame, 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 then I think that would actually be productive. And I know I'm a bit cruel. I could be a little cruel at this from time to time, but it's so that they get it through their heads. Because if you listen to some of this stuff, and I know I'm going on yet another rant, but if you listen to some of the topics and the way that they responded to being voted the worst company in America so many times in a row, it wasn't until recently that one of the CEOs sat down and goes, I have to think about it. Are we one of the worst companies? But wait. You only did that after you had been named worst company so many times, and you've had people basically just burning your everything that you touch, and you're just now getting to the point to go, oh, maybe we are bad. It's like that. It's like that one British skit that they do in World War II, where there's these guys sitting around going, these German Nazi SS people sitting around going, are we the baddies? Are we the bad guys? Have you looked at your hat recently? There's a skull and crossbones on it. A skull and crossbones. When have skull and crossbones ever been used by somebody who you consider the good guy? And it's just absolutely hilarious little skit.
Accent on point.
Yeah, and I mean that's what it, it's just my goodness, why there's so many problems. It's just,
people seem to be enjoying your rants. Maybe we should have we should start a Cyb Rants series or something like that.
I have wanted to, but I hate being so negative constantly. But actually, that is a really good idea. I've been thinking about it for a while. So if you like my rants, if you feel that they're within reason, let us know.
Well, you don't start yelling and screaming. You just start going into really, really elaborate metaphors, which eventually lose everybody. But they're entertaining at least. So.
We'll call it Cyb's metaphor rampage.
A metaphor rampage.
Metaphors. Like I don't think the way most normal people think. I'm literally. I'm not a normal human. And so metaphors are one of the things that I've learned to try and communicate my perspective on, because it's the only way I can really pass along what I'm feeling and what I'm trying to say. So metaphors are the easiest way for me to actually try and get it out there. So yeah.
Usually it works. And then sometimes it just breaks my brain. Anyway, we are at T minus 22 seconds, and so this is gonna be starting right away. Get ready to watch the train wreck or the show, depending on what you're